Because that was evil. While I'm responding, you hit the go.
Dude, it said we had to go live, Jeremy. It said we had to go live, all right? It was 9 o'clock.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 9 o'clock. You know what that means? Open sports mic. I'm in the center square, so does that mean I'm Paul Lynn from Hollywood Squares?
We don't have no squares.
Darn it. Okay.
We need 3 more to have center square, man.
Oh, come on. Come on. Where's Peter Marcher, Tom Bergeron to help us, please? Okay. I'm the center square. That means Big D, Spunky Spectrum Sports. To my left, we have a Lion fan, Jeremy. To my right, we have a Raven fan, Charles. Down here to the bottom left, we have our Packer fan, Jason. And then our Steeler fans, Big Sexy, Big Rich, and Adam. So, guys, what's the temperature outside your houses now?
-5 with the wind chill.
I was going to say, I think our mine is 15 with the wind chill.
33.
68 degrees for me.
That's because you're in sunny Southern California. And you're
Central
in Florida.
California.
And you're in Florida where it's a balmy 60 degrees, right, Dylan?
Nope. Nope.
The whole panhandle of Florida got snow last week, man.
It's 50.
If it means anything, my brother lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, and he sent me a screenshot of his weather forecast today. 13 degrees with it feels like 10 degrees. So there you go.
Does he have electricity?
He does have electricity, thankfully, yes.
That's good.
By the way, we might be in the 20s here for low this weekend, early next week, in the 239.
It's cold.
And you know what else? Is cold? Oh wait, that being the Pro Football Hall of Fame voters. As a writer myself, I'm a baseball nut at heart, football nut. This might be the biggest Hall of Fame sham in sports history, but we found out in the last couple hours that the Pro Football Hall of Fame writers did not put in Bill Belichick on the first ballot.
Good.
How?
Part of 2 of the biggest cheating scandals in NFL history. Deflategate and Spygate.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Another coach we heard from. What's up,
What's
brother?
up, guys?
Hey.
What's up, guys? Long time no see.
I didn't know you existed still. Last time I saw you was on the UFL show.
And
yeah,
we have a Brown fan, Evan.
yeah.
Might be
I'm not really an Ohio sports fan right now.
Who might be the
Any
next head
sport.
coach of the Cleveland Browns?
Why? How can you not be an Ohio sports fan right now?
Ryan Day sold it and let go of a good coach, and then went and hired Arthur Smith. The Cavs are playing like hot dog water, and the Browns can't hire a coach because the owner won't get out of the way, and the Guardians didn't do nothing. And then the Columbus Aviators didn't do nothing. I could keep going.
Evan, if I'd have told you that one of your quarterbacks in the state was going to make the Pro Bowl, would you have not said Joe Burrow?
I didn't see that coming, but I understand with foresight why they did it.
Because he's the
I think I have an
37th best quarterback.
Oh no, he didn't deserve to go to the Pro Bowl, but I think because you look at it with all the injuries, and he sold the most jerseys out for all of the rookies. He's got the most publicity. Why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna I want to back up what Zach just said there. Brian Hartline left for a head coaching job. The mistake was keeping Ryan Day in the first place and not giving it to Hartline after he lost 4 straight to Michigan.
I agree, but I think the question becomes: would Brian Hartline have beat out Mike Vrabel for that job? And I don't think so.
For the Ohio State job?
Yes, because that's the reason that Mike Vrabel took that year off with Cleveland, because the rumor was if Ryan Day didn't get it done, he wanted the Ohio State job. And then it turned out that the Patriots ended up firing their head coach, and now he's in the Super Bowl.
I tell you, that would be that. Honestly, if you're sitting there and you're Vrabel and you've got that sitting right in front of you, that's a really tough choice. You got Ohio State, which is one of the top premier teams in the country, or you have New England, who's got a up and coming at that point second-year quarterback coming in with all the stuff that they've got going on, and you're kind of going. It was kind of a no-lose situation for Vrabel because you knew he was going to succeed in whichever one he took.
Okay. You say Matt Patricia was a great hire this year. What did he do against the best teams he faced?
Absolutely nothing. I didn't say he was a good hire.
No,
I see it coming in the chat.
Right here.
Zach did right here. Matt Patricia was a brilliant hire. He was fine as long as you were playing dog water teams.
So to Zach, the reason I don't like Ryan Day is because he can't recruit. I don't see the talent that came in with Urban Meyer, with Jim Tressel, with Luke Fickell, with all those other guys. The only reason that Ohio State has gotten the receivers that it got was because of Brian Hartline. And now that Brian Hartline's gone, what happened? Everybody that was supposed to get their chance this upcoming season has now transferred. We almost lost the number 1 wide receiver in Chris Henry Jr.
But Evan, college football teams don't stay together. I mean, heck that Miami and Indiana played for a national championship is something. I mean, but college football teams can't stay together. I mean, we know Ohio State's going to be there year after year, but nobody's going to be able to get together. But get back to the point. What do you guys think about the Pro Football Hall of Fame not voting Bill Belichick as the first ballot Hall of Fame? Because that's is the biggest show in any Hall of Fame that I've ever heard.
If you put him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you got to put Pete Rose into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I think that's a
apples
little
and
long.
oranges. That's apples and oranges.
I think the reason he didn't get in is because of Deflategate and Spygate. I think they're gonna make him wait a year.
Maybe too.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at what and I realize it's a team sport and all that kind of stuff, but look at what his career was before and after Brady. As much as I can't stand neither one of them, and anybody that has listened to me for more than 5 minutes knows that, Belichick he was a complete disaster as a head coach before and after. His systems didn't work. He didn't have Gronkowski. He didn't have Brady. Outside of the other stuff, the Deflategate and the Spygate and that. I mean, hell, if I knew what the other team was doing, I could have won 6 Super Bowls too. It's 100% a case where they're penalizing him for that stuff. I do agree. He'll probably get in next year. I don't think it's a sham that he didn't get in this year. He'll probably get in next year, if not the following year.
Bring him in the following year with Brady.
Possibly.
We're just not letting Brady in either. So we're not letting Brady in either.
If it was up to me.
What do you mean? Brady's not due for 2028.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying when he is.
Belichick would have
applies
to
to
him for
Brady.
3 years. Yeah, Belichick would not have to get in for 3 years to go in with Brady.
So why don't we just stretch this out to Mike Vrabel, Randy Moss? Randy Moss didn't win the Super Bowl with him. So why don't we just stretch this out? Crap. Like, I don't know what you need to win to get in the Hall of Fame the first time to win 7 Super Bowls. I'm sorry. I can't agree with y'all at all. And I'm a Ravens fan. I didn't even like New England and don't like New England. But in general, dude, 7 Super Bowls automatically get you in. To me, that trumps anything else he did.
It should get you
So
in.
let's
But
say
we're
he
also
cheated.
we're talking
Belichick
about
has 8 Super Bowls, 2 as an assistant, 6 as a regular coach.
we're talking about I absolutely agree with you. His championships, his accomplishments should get him in there. But we're talking about writers who haven't played the game, who feel spited, who this is their bit of control. And when they don't get what they want, or they don't get the stuff that they're looking for because of their title, when they get into a position like this, they get to hold the power that they never had. And we're talking about a dude who wasn't great with the media, wasn't great with interviews, wasn't great with giving time to anybody outside the Patriots organization. And now those who are in his way are those same writers. So to sit here and say that Spygate and Deflategate are the major reasons, can you argue it other than just that he won?
Jason.
It's not, in addition to the writers, Evan, there are also a couple of guys on the voting committee by the name of Bill Polian and Tony Dungy, who were head coaches and GMs of the Indianapolis Colts when Deflategate took place. I'm not saying Tony Dungy holds grudges, because I think he's genuinely one of the greatest human beings on the face of this earth. But Bill Polian was asked earlier today, after word came out about Belichick not being on the ballot, if he left him off the ballot because of the controversy surrounding Spygate and Deflategate. Polian said, quote unquote, I categorically deny leaving him off the first ballot. So either the person who leaked that story about Polian not voting for him because of Deflategate is lying, or Bill Polian's lying. But at either rate, that just kind of adds a little extra twist to the complexity around this whole situation.
And I agree, because I saw something else on Twitter earlier today about referencing the same thing, where he said that, because of Spygate and Deflategate, I think he should wait a year. But I didn't trust the source of where it came from, outside of the tweet of the retweet. So you're absolutely right with that. I don't think Tony Dungy is the issue here. I think Bill Polian is, if we're outside of the writers.
Yeah, I agree too. And for me, it's like, when did Bill Polian become the moral compass of the National Football League here? Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, for us, it's easy to sit back and say without having enough evidence to accurately judge, hey, he did or he didn't. But Evan, I kind of get the same vibe from Bill Polian that you are, because Polian was extremely vociferous about Deflategate when it happened. And look, human beings hold grudges for a number of reasons, for myriad reasons. Bill Polian is human just like all of us here. He's fully capable of holding grudges just like anybody else. So I'm with you, Evan. I don't buy Bill Polian. It's Bill Polian's statement at all one bit. It's like he says, he says, I voted for him. I didn't leave him off the roster or off the ballot. Sure, Bill, and piss runs uphill. Try and sell that to the Boy Scouts. Don't sell it to us.
You have a point, Evan, when you were talking about his relationship with the people outside of the team. And in a lot of cases, when you hear it from former players, a lot of people within the team. But, the coaches, it's tough for coaches to get in, period. I mean, how long did we wait for some of the really, really good coaches to get in? And there's some that aren't even in yet. Marty Schottenheimer's still waiting, that kind of thing. yes, Belichick's got, he has 8 Super Bowls, 2 as an assistant and whatever. Okay, that's fine. But just all the stuff around it and that kind of thing, I really, really believe is the reason why he didn't get in first ballot. Do I think it's going to affect Brady when he goes to go in? I think the fact he's a lousy broadcaster is probably going to affect him more than that will, even though it should. His entire career was based off of a cheap hit and a bad call. The Tuck rule, that was a fumble. I don't care whose eyes you look through. I don't care what rule you want to go off of. That ball was fumbled. And he would have never seen the light of the field if Mo Lewis doesn't bury his helmet in the sternum of Drew Bledsoe. So, all that to say, I think there's other guys that are going to go in that probably we could have the same argument as far as why are they going in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't go in, to be honest, but I'm glad he didn't. That's
So
just
the
me.
question. So before, I just want to ask this question. So when it comes to the Hall of Fame, coaches, owners, team, not players, they have a what 3 slots total if they get in at all for those for coaches and owners.
I believe that's correct. Yeah.
So then would that mean that he's going against Kraft and who else?
As far as the peripheral guys, I mean, I'm sure he'd be going against. I'd have to see who's in and who's not. Is Dan Reeves in?
I believe so.
Is Shanahan in? I don't think Shanahan's in.
I don't think so.
Not yet.
There's a lot of guys that are, not in yet. Owners, if I remember correctly, the Mara family is in. The Hunt family is in. Rooney's are in. Jera is in.
Al
Is
Davis.
Dean Spanos in?
I don't think.
The Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Jera's in.
I don't think
I think-
Spanos is in.
I think that's great.
Didn't they put it?
Talk roll tears. That's funny. That's
Al Davis might be in the Hall of Fame.
It's a fact. People can.
So-
It's spoken as a true Patriots fan. That ball was fumbled as long as the day is.
All right.
But hey,
All right, so
But,
my computer
yeah,
was lagging, so I'm sorry about that. Let me tell you something. If Jerry Rice was the biggest jerk in the world to everybody he met, he's a Hall of Famer. If Tom Brady was the biggest jerk in the world to everybody in the world, some guys just get in. Belichick should get in. And again, I'm not the biggest Patriots, whatever. I mean, I never did buy the genius of Belichick and all that other baloney sandwich. But 7 Super Bowls is 7 Super Bowls. Period. I don't care if he had Tom Brady or not. That's a Hall of Fame career. Undisputed.
Wait.
So
You're
I don't
missing
know
the
what you got. I don't
You're
know what
not
you're missing.
saying he won't get in the Hall of Fame. We just saying he wasn't a first ballot. That's all we said.
yeah, it's a lot of people are saying, and I realize we're shifting sports here. A lot of people are saying that's part of the reason why it took so long for Carlos Beltran to get voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame is because he was a big part of the Astros thing. No, the reason why he took him so long to get in the Hall of Fame is because he doesn't deserve to be in the freaking Hall of Fame.
See, Beltran is not the same thing. Beltran is a borderline Hall of. You can factor all that stuff in when a guy is, that stuff.
But he had.
You could argue whether he.
But he had a major role in the. But he had a major role in the whole garbage can thing. So that's what people are saying was that was what was being penalized against him. For what it's worth.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, in Beltran's case, it's okay. It's a borderline Hall of Fame. But if Barry Bonds had been on that team, Barry Bonds should have been in the Hall of Fame.
And that's why I want to see what happens with Altuve.
Yeah.
Altuve has a Hall of Fame career. I want to see if Altuve gets penalized. Am I safe in saying you guys all agree Altuve is a Hall of Famer?
Without the question.
Batting average and hits per season, yes.
Yes, without a doubt. Altuve has a Hall of Fame resume, without a doubt.
Dylan, go ahead.
We know that the Pro Football Hall of Fame has elected football players who took performance-enhancing drugs, who've done things, who've gambled. I mean, Paul Horning, anyone? I don't think Bill Belichick's a bigger cheat than the guys who've taken PEDs, who've gambled. And plus, I mean, who's to say that coaches haven't done something similar to Spygate or Deflategate? They just didn't get caught. I mean, we know that the 1951 Giants put a telescope at the Polo Grounds, which helped them win home games.
And let's not forget, Alex Karras, plus one of the four horsemen of the Minnesota Vikings, ran a gambling ring in 1969 and was suspended for a year, 68, right around there, and then came back. And Alex Karras is in posthumously in the NFL.
This is a Hall of Fame. The NFL, the National Football League Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, is a museum dedicated to preserving the history of the National Football League, professional football, and the guys that played it. This is not a church. This place is not the White House, and it's not the Vatican City. All right? There are a lot of guys in every sports Hall of Fame, from football to baseball to basketball to hockey, all walks of sports that have some type of character issue, that have some type of checkered past, whatever. It's meant to chronicle the sport, the professional sport of the National Football League. It's meant to recognize guys for their achievements on the field, not off the field, and what they did. Now, do Spygate and Deflategate make Bill Belichick look really bad from a PR standpoint? Absolutely. All right. But that still doesn't minimize, like what Rav was saying, all the Super Bowl trophies that he won. It still doesn't minimize all the conference championships. This place is a Hall of Fame. Let's not dump holy water on it and make it more than what it really is.
And again, like I said, I didn't say he won't get in. I said he will get in. And he also he will get in. I just knew it wouldn't be first ballot.
Let me tell you something. And the guy leading the charge from this, from what we heard today, was Bill Polian. He's more evil than Belichick. If you want to take a guy, who's a more miserable guy than Bill Polian, for God's sake? They
Jerry
showed
Jones.
him the door. Jerry Jones, Bill Polian ain't got $1 billion. They showed him the doors, even with all the success he had in Carolina and in Indianapolis, the second they started losing. Same guy that said Lamar should be a wide receiver. Same guy.
You guys need to document this because it doesn't happen very often. I'm going to say something good about the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones as a guy is a really, actually pretty decent guy. I had the chance to spend some time with him a few years ago when he got put in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and spent a bunch, the whole day. There was a bunch of us spent the whole day together. Actually, a very nice guy. He doesn't, he doesn't run people down. He was asked all sorts of different questions where he had the opportunity to do so. Doesn't run people down. He doesn't, say anything super negative against teams and that kind of stuff. So to that degree, what Jerry did in 88, 89, yes, that's the one thing, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I despise the Cowboys. But as a guy, in my eyes, not a bad guy. Not a bad guy. So write that one down because you won't hear me say anything good about the Cowboys after this.
I've heard a lot of people say that about him as an individual, that they like him. I know those guys that played with him, unlike the owner, they like him. The issue with Jones is recent years he's been kind of going Biden on us, off his rocker a little bit. And before that, he was too involved in things. He didn't have a GM. He didn't have this. He didn't have that. he's too involved in things. Yeah, but I don't think most people say he's a jerk or somebody you can't be in a room like Jim Irsay or somebody like that, where you just, difficult.
I think he's a great guy, but I think he looks like a cross between Golem and the Crypt Keeper rolled into one as an illegitimate child.
You know what? Maybe Bill Belichick's girlfriend will be in the Hall of Fame before he is, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the championship Sunday. Congrats to the Seahawks and Patriots for booking their spots in Super Bowl 60. I think we need to talk about the first USC quarterback who's going to be starting on Super Bowl Sunday, and that's Sammy Darnold. Boy, the Vikings look like
Sean
an
McVay
idiot.
screwed himself by calling that timeout, and then if he would have challenged it, he would have lost his second timeout on that one. Cooper Kupp did not catch that ball.
I think it might be more catch fumble.
I just want to say how happy I am for Sam Darnold to get to the Super Bowl. He's the first quarterback from that 2018 draft class to appear in the Super Bowl over first overall pick Baker Mayfield, over Lamar Jackson, over Josh Allen. And very quietly, Sam has paid his dues. Regardless of how good you think he is or how bad you think he is, I'm not propping him up on the Mount Rushmore quarterbacks here. I'm just happy that he got here. I also watched him a lot at USC. I thought he was a decent quarterback at USC, definitely not one of the greatest in school history. But Sam is an overall genuine good guy. He really is. He's paid his dues. He played on some terrible rosters. The Jets don't even count, in my opinion. The Jets should not even be a professional football team, in my opinion. But he played on some terrible teams in New York, in Carolina. He saw the writing on the wall in San Francisco, got out, saw the writing on the wall again in Minnesota. Well, actually, he didn't. The Vikings did when they didn't bring him back after they drafted J.J. McCarthy. So, Sam, congratulations, buddy. Regardless of win or lose, man, you deserve to be there. You played the best in that NFC Championship game. Congratulations. I'm happy for Sam Darnold.
Do the Vikings
Can I go through a quick list real quick? Because when you think about Keaton Slovis, Mark Sanchez, Sean Salisbury, Rodney Peete, Carson Palmer, Todd Marinovich, Matt Leinart, Rob Johnson, Pat Hayden, Vince Evans, Matt Castle, all these guys played at USC.
Did you
none
real
of
quick
them made it to the Super Bowl? He's the first USC quarterback. Yeah.
Did you include Rob Johnson, who lost to my 1994 Fresno State Bulldogs in the Freedom Bowl?
I did include him. There was also, of course, some current guys like, did you know Jackson Dart played at USC for a hot minute, as well as Ryan Leaf. Caleb Williams. So
Pat Hayden.
So you got some current guys there, but it's hard to believe with that list of names that he's the first USC quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl.
Hey, Rav, you might be able to answer this because Mike McDonald was your defense coordinator, but we all love these offensive-minded head coaches. I don't think anyone gives enough love to the defensive-minded coaches. And what Mike McDonald's done with this young Seattle roster reminds me of what Pete Carroll did 13 years ago with the Legion of Boom. That Seattle team is just so fast on both sides of the ball.
I see it like on the feed all the time with the Ravens fans. It's pointless to have it, but I see it all the time. We should have hired Mike McDonald before he had a chance to leave. A lot of guys wanted Harbaugh fired after the AFC title game. So if they'd have fired Harbaugh then, you probably could have had Mike McDonald as the head coach. And so I think that's what they just did. They hired Jesse Minter. But Mike McDonald is a phenomenal defensive coach. He doesn't do too much of anything. He's more of a scientist. He doesn't blitz all the time. He doesn't zone all the time. He doesn't man-to-man all the time. He kind of like feels the situation out and has a really good feel for the situation. So, yeah, Mike McDonald as a defensive coach is phenomenal, I think.
Which makes him unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Mike? The Yinzer.
So have you did you guys hire Scotty Montgomery as your OC today? He was in for an interview with the Ravens.
I have not heard that as far as who they've hired for OC yet. The talk is, the narrative is they want Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. Who is that guy? I think I heard the talk of the Bears
Declan
OC. Forgot his name.
Doyle.
Declan Doyle. Yeah, Declan Doyle.
He's been turning down interviews though.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do a lateral move. He wants to move forward, not lateral, because he is an OC.
30 years old.
Yeah, it's his first year as an OC.
Yeah, so but they would talk about like that. So I think Kingsbury doesn't have a lot of interest. So I think they're gonna wait. I know Lamar likes him. I think that makes sense because Kingsbury's worked with Kyler Murray. He's worked with Jaden Daniels. He's worked with Pat Mahomes. So like these mobile quarterbacks is kind of his thing. So that's why they're kind of looking at him as far as for OC as well.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, man. How much was I hammering? I wanted Kingsbury in Pittsburgh. I mean, I wanted him to be the head coach, or OC, but oh man, if he goes to Baltimore, that's just not going to be a good thing at all. That'll be pretty much enough to piss me off. You guys want to do a little team building exercise as we're in the middle of the show?
Sure.
Okay. There have been 7. We've got 59 Super Bowls that have been played, okay? There are 7 head coaches that have led 2 different teams to the Super Bowl. Who are they? You get bonus points for what teams?
7 head coaches?
7 head coaches have led 2 different teams to the Super Bowl.
I want to say Dennis Green, Vikings and Cardinals, right?
Andy Reid
as a head coach.
Oh, as a head coach. Okay, Andy Reid. Yeah, that's definitely one because that's Philadelphia
Andy
and
Reid.
Kansas City.
Hold on. Tony Dungy.
Don Shula's one.
Don
John
Shula is
Gruden.
also. You know the teams.
Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, the Colts and the Dolphins he's led to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Mike Holmgren.
Reid and
Green Bay
Shula
and
are
Seattle.
correct.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
John Gruden.
I'm sorry?
Oakland and Tampa Bay.
No.
Wasn't he the head coach when Rich Gannon was there?
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
That was Bill Callahan was the coach.
Yep, that was Bill Callahan. He took Tampa, but he did not take Oakland. Mike Holmgren, yes. Packers and Seahawks, yes. I figured you'd get that one right out of the chute, Jason. So we have 3. We have Holmgren, we have Reid, and we have Shula. There's 4 left.
Bill
I honestly
Parcells.
figure the 5 of these will be easy. The other 2 are going to really. Parcells is correct. You know the teams?
Yeah.
Giants and Patriots.
Giants and Patriots, right. So that's 4.
Reid, Parcells, Holmgren, Shula. Are they of my
Evan,
lifetime?
Evan, did you say Tony Dungy already?
Yes, I did, but that was wrong.
Okay.
John
That is
Fox.
John Fox is correct. Do you know the teams?
I know one of them is the Broncos.
The
other
I
one-
can't remember the other team.
Carolina's the other one.
Carolina's the other one. Yep. So Fox, Holmgren, Parcells, Reid, and Shula we have. There are 2 left.
Wait, what about Dan Reeves, Denver Broncos and Atlanta Falcons?
That's one of them. We got 1 left.
Okay.
Is it Dick Vermeil?
It is. Do you know the teams?
The Rams, and I want to say there's a team in the NFC.
The Eagles, yeah, was the other
Yep.
team.
The Eagles, 1980. Yep.
Yeah, they made a movie out of it.
Now here's the fun stat out of all that. None has ever led 2 different teams to a Super Bowl victory.
Right.
7 of them have taken 2 different teams. None have taken 2 different teams to a victory.
Crazy
Really?
stuff.
So, thought that was kind of interesting.
That's a crazy stat.
You would have thought, yeah, I'm surprised by that stat. Yeah, that's good stuff because I would never thought that one coach has never led 2 different teams. Yeah, it's never happened. And won.
So, have you guys? I'm sure have seen that there's some people that have completely lost their minds and want to see these championship games and playoff games played in neutral sites with a roof where they're climate controlled. Me personally, that's the biggest bunch of garbage I've ever heard. But I want to hear what you guys think about this, because to me, the elements are part of the game. Thoughts?
I agree.
I think
the
the
element-
biggest. Go ahead. Let me talk.
One thing rule I would like to change though is if they know that snow is going to be on the schedule, go ahead and make the teams wear an alternate away uniform so they're not white.
I mean, I think the thing is, the biggest thing, the problem I have, and I agree with you, Rich, pretty much. But the thing is, the championships, to win the division and all that, the reward is to have the home field. So wherever the home field is, it's a deterrent to like having the home field, which I'm not for at all. Whoever has the number 1 seed should have the home field, no matter the situation. Everybody's complaining about what happened in Denver, where that second half was ridiculous. You couldn't even total uselessness of that.
That's awesome.
But I understand that, but I mean, I think that is what it is. I think that shouldn't change, in my opinion. Like, whoever gets the number 1 seed, whoever went, should have the home field in the championship round.
And all of us, except for Jeremy, could have that happen at our team's home field. That we could all have that happen in Cleveland or in Green Bay or in Pittsburgh or in Baltimore. We could have that. So we got a question here, though. How about this one? We know Francisco Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick going to the Raiders. Thoughts on this since Max Crosby wants out?
I think it's going to take a lot more than just T. Higgins to get Max Crosby. I think that the Browns are going to have to fork over some first round draft capital, whether this year or next year with it, and possibly some mid-rounders. Because T. Higgins, while he is a talented receiver, he's technically not a 1 on most rosters. He'd be a 1 for the Raiders, but he wouldn't be a 1 on about 10 other teams.
Yeah. I mean, if he was in someplace like Dallas or Minnesota or something, he wouldn't be the 1 there, but
or even Detroit.
I think trading your top player for another player is not a smart move. If you can't do what the Jets did this past trade deadline when it comes to trading your best players and you have the number 1 pick, what's the point to trade them? If I can't get more assets to build around my franchise quarterback, since I'm going to take him before I have the pieces already set, I need more pieces so that I have more swings at the ball so that I can make this work. So if you're just trading for a T. Higgins, it's not worth it.
What if it was Crosby and a 1? But you went.
If I'm the Raiders and I'm trading Max Crosby, I need 2 1s, a second, and maybe a third or a 4th. I'm that bad.
What are you guys talking about?
Wow.
The question that was asked.
We had one of the listeners throw this question out here, Dylan.
Here's the problem. Max Crosby costs more per year than T. Higgins already, and the Bengals are close to cap hell. So you'd also have to have them take on part of the contract for Crosby, which they can't afford to do because it'll put them in cap hell by taking on T's contract plus part of Max's. It would be because they're still paying Carr for that extension, aren't they?
I believe they have 1 more year on it.
Yeah, this is the last year of Carr's extension. I think when he was extended.
Yeah, I think this is the last year of that extension.
No way.
The Raiders are definitely a rebuild.
No way I would trade Max Crosby for T. Higgins straight up. I think they're 2 totally different players.
But if Cincinnati was going to give you their 1 and T. Higgins for Max Crosby.
No, couldn't do it. We've had this discussion a couple times. If I'm the Raiders, I'm looking at what the Browns did last year. Reason being, I know you want to be out, but you're the only thing selling tickets. Ashton Genty wasn't that great last year. Brock Bowers is the only other thing we have on this offense. We have no offensive line. If I'm going to trade you, I need to be able to not only have somebody that can fill your spot, but also be able to fix the pieces that are needed for Fernando or whoever they were to pick to get the ball to a guy like T. Higgins. It just wouldn't make sense. Even if I could
Does
trade,
Crosby have that value?
No, but again, that's a great question. The answer to that is no. But trading him to the right situation, I would say yes. If I'm Buffalo,
Okay.
if I'm Washington, if I'm Denver, because Bo Nix is still on a rookie deal. If I'm on one, if I can trade him to a situation like that and go get some picks that I can move around, absolutely. But other than that, I don't think so.
I know one thing about Crosby. He wants to get out of there.
He does.
I
And
don't.
we
I
do
don't
understand
imagine.
this, Walter. We do.
I
And
can't imagine he wants to stay. Like
And
regardless.
I am making a bold prediction right now. Max Crosby will not be a Las Vegas Raider on opening day. He will be a Detroit Lion.
No, he won't. We don't have the cap.
Could I throw a name out there though? Because we're talking about draft picks and that kind of stuff, and a team that
Dallas Cowboys.
if you were going to throw a receiver in there, what about Miami? That if you were going to go Jalen Waddle and a couple of maybe this year's first and next year's first,
Miami's
for Crosby.
Miami's in bigger cap held than the Bengals. Miami could be $50 million over the cap when they cut two.
Put it this way: there's only two teams in the NFC North that'll be over the cap going into next season. It's the Lions and Bears. Everybody else is over the cap. They have to start restructuring.
Yeah, I was just thinking Miami with the receiver and the possibility and needing the defensive presence. Because Crosby is a presence. Evan is 100% right. He is a presence.
Miami needs linemen. Miami needs offensive linemen.
They can
What
draft
about Max
linemen.
Crosby to Dallas? I know.
No,
I don't know their cap
No.
situation. But if you're talking, just hear me out. I don't know their cap situation. But if we're saying trade for a receiver, Pickens can be available on a new contract. They just got how many picks? Do that? They can give up some picks to put him next to Quentin Williams, and now they have affordable offensive line, and it puts them in a Super Bowl window. And Jerry will find a way to pay the money.
They are going to be way over the cap. Yes, they would be better off dumping CeeDee Lamb than they would Pickens.
Wow.
From cap space. Now Lamb going to the Raiders, yeah. And then they do have 2 2s. They have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s this year. They have 7 picks in the top 4. So
by the way,
if they did something like Lamb 1, 2, and 3 this year for Crosby, I could see it working for Dallas. But outside of that, the salary cap is going to bite them too hard.
Dallas is $30 million over the cap right now.
Yep.
Right.
I looked at their two teams that are good teams that are really far under the cap. The Titans have the most cap room. They have like 80 million. The Chargers and the Rams are the 2 teams that are really cap space, and they could do it. I think both teams could use that a team. The Chargers, I don't think, because that's going to be in division, so maybe they don't want to do that.
I think the Chargers need a lineman.
And I think the Rams have 2 picks in the first round as well.
2 1s.
They do have 2 picks.
Yeah, so I think that's a situation where you get a number 1 pick if a team has 2 picks.
But the Rams don't need a defensive lineman. The Rams need a corner, a wide receiver, and a right tackle.
I think the Rams take Max Crosby if they can get it.
No. The Rams are the one team that don't need a pass rusher.
This scenario, I could see the Eagles more than the Giants.
Bingo.
Yeah, the Giants already got a young pass rush. They got what in the last 5 drafts, 3 of their guys have
Abdul
been
Carter,
linemen.
Kayvon Thibodeau, yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau, as they already announced, is probably going on the trade block.
Yeah, but he's
got
another
Brian
one
Burns
that they're
too, right?
going to want a lot for.
They got Brian Burns too, right?
They
They
got Brian Burns too, yeah.
Abdul Carter. They still got Lawrence in the middle.
Yeah.
I know the reason, and I know the reason for that. John Harbaugh is going to run a 3-4, so
Right.
you don't need all those linemen. So that's why they're
Right.
trading Thibodeau. Yeah.
Unless you could make
in
him
the
into
hollow.
can you conceivably make? Well, you could make Burns into a linebacker though,
Right.
an outside LB.
Well, that's what he was in Carolina too. He was basically an outside
Right.
linebacker.
So you could arguably have Thibodeau and Lawrence and Carter on your line and run Burns at LB.
Everybody here except for Pittsburgh only has one representative, right? We're all out of the playoffs. You guys want to run a mock draft?
I've already done one.
I've already done 38 on my show.
Well, Jeremy, my team doesn't have a first-round pick, so I'll mess up.
Yeah, you messed up the first pick by not having one.
Yeah, I mean, I already. No, just say I've already done I did a full first round one.
I've been doing full 7-round mocks on my channel.
I don't release one till after the Senior Bowl is over. Then I'll do a mock draft.
I've got a question, Rich. Who do you have the Jets taking at 2?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
I got him taking Ruben Bain.
That's what I would.
I have the Jets taking Orville Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State.
Is what it is. I say Ruben Bain because they need edge help bad. They're with no pressure. They had no interceptions last year.
I've got them taking David Bailey out of Texas Tech.
I think the Jets aren't smart enough to take an Alvin Reese. Like, he's like Micah Parsons. I think you could get past. He could fill that pass rush spot if you use him right. But the Jets.
That means why I actually have Reese going to Cleveland.
Yeah, like that's
no.
I actually have Reese going to Cleveland.
Michael Ward wants to do a draft.
Orville Reese.
That makes more sense to me.
I
love you, Rich, but I think you're losing it.
I have the Browns.
Well, if you look at it, Arizona's going to go line. Tennessee's going to go O-line. The Giants are going to go DB or wide receiver.
Wait. Time out.
The next defensive line spot is going to be Cleveland.
Time out. The New York Giants are going to get a right tackle at 5. They're either going to draft one of the linemen. I think the Tennessee Titans, particularly Robert Saleh there, are going to go defensive line. Depending on who Arizona gets as his head coach, I think the Cardinals could go line. They could go quarterback. Who knows?
What's the Titans' number one priority? Protect the guy wearing 1. They're going to use that first round pick on a premier tackle. Write it down.
I think the Tennessee Titans go pass rusher or wide receiver. If they don't go for a wide receiver in free agency.
Not at 1. Not with their first rounder. There's no way. They got to protect Ward, man. If Ward gets killed back there, it's not going to matter who he's throwing to. They're not going to put any points on the board because he's going to be on the IL. And anybody know the backup in Tennessee? Because I sure as hell don't.
So what? He's better than your quarterback.
No, our quarterback that's going to be out there next year wearing, is going to be perfectly fine. That kid wearing 18 is going to be perfectly fine.
So wait, a 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers with no line and no wide receiver?
No, I said 18, not 8. 18.
Well, Howard
was just convinced about Will Howard.
Will be back.
You are just convinced. I don't see it.
Will
I don't
Howard is
think
a
Will
Ben
Howard.
Roethlisberger starter kit, man. I'm telling you.
I agree with that if you kept Mike Tomlin.
Jason.
I don't agree with that now.
Jason, we need your voice in here to put some sense in here.
Well,
what do you think the Tennessee Titans should do at 4?
I don't know, Dylan. Honestly, I haven't thought about mock drafts yet. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to watch the Super Bowl or not. I literally am not prepared to answer that question, so I don't know. But real quickly, I hate to backtrack here, but going back to the Fernando Mendoza, Raiders, Max Crosby stuff, I want to suggest an out-of-the-box scenario here for the Raiders. The Raiders trading the first overall pick to the Indianapolis Colts for some of the draft capital the Colts have. Since it's a foregone conclusion that now just hear me out. Since it's a foregone conclusion that the Raiders are going to take Mendoza, think about this for a minute. The Colts have a serious issue at quarterback heading into next season. It's pretty much a given that they're not going to pick up Anthony Richardson's 5th-year option for next year, which would be a projected $23.5 million if my math is correct. So he's pretty much gone. Daniel Jones, there's no telling what he'll be like coming off the Achilles injury. Now, the Colts do have some issues with some extension candidates like Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. But even though Fernando Mendoza is not from the Indy area originally, he hails from Miami. What better way for the Colts to try and reinvigorate their fan base than to bring Mendoza? The Raiders right now bring Mendoza back to Indiana. The reason I pose this, guys, is because you all have said things concerning the Raiders that are the most important things beyond drafting a quarterback 1 overall. That is offensive line, defensive line. The Raiders right now, guys, are like a bowl of oatmeal. They are so loose and they are so runny. They have needs all over the football field. And unfortunately, drafting Fernando Mendoza would go a long way towards achieving some style points, but he is going to get turned into ground beef on that football field unless you draft quality linemen to protect him and you beef up the defense. You get some more players in the skill positions there. I agree with Evan. Brock Bowers really is the only solidified skill player that they have right now on the roster. I haven't given up on Ashton Jeanty yet, but still, if I'm the Raiders, I at least consider trading that first pick to get some more draft capital, stock up, and draft the important areas of the team to make them better first. Because if you can't protect your quarterback and you can't give him the time he needs to do what he can do, Mendoza is going to end up being the next Jamarcus Russell. He's going to end up being the next Jeff George. So, you know what? That's just an outside-the-box scenario for me.
I love that comment from MDE off of my channel. Mendoza is Ken Darcy in disguise, a.k.a. Chad Powers.
Well, and you know what? Look. Bottom line is with Fernando Mendoza, if I'm Tom Brady, I am sitting back right now and I'm asking myself while I'm consulting with John Spytek, my GM, who is supposed to be one of the best talent evaluators in the NFL, are we drafting the hype around Fernando Mendoza, or are we drafting Mendoza because we think he can take a football team that won only 2 games this season and jump us into the 10-win, 11-win, 12-win stratosphere? And if I'm those guys looking at the roster from last season, looking at their roster prospects for next season, honestly, I'm saying hell no. It's going to take a lot more than Mendoza to get this team, and it's not going to be in just one season because we all know the Raiders be the Raiders. They will find some way to muck this up. So that's why I projected him, the Raiders possibly trading out of that first pick overall to the Colts, because the Colts would be a lot better off having Fernando Mendoza, given the question marks they have at their positions, than the Raiders do.
And you know, Jason, one other thing, that division with Denver, KC, and the Chargers is a really, really tough division to shoot yourself up to the top of, on top of everything else. For them to get some legging to make it to the top of that division, it's going to be really, really difficult. You got a point.
And go ahead, Dylan.
Problem? How do the Colts get Fernando Mendoza if Indy doesn't have a first-round pick in 2026 or 2027?
Dylan, I don't know. It's just a thought that I yanked out of my ass. to me, it makes sense from an Indy roster standpoint because they also have a need at quarterback. I don't know what Indy's draft capital is like as far as first round picks, second round picks, third round picks. But what I was just go ahead.
Jets have both of their first round picks the next 2 years because they traded for Sauce Gardner.
Yeah.
And when I last saw, Sauce Gardner is going to count a lot towards Indy's salary cap heading into the offseason. So that could also pose a problem for any potential trade they pull off. I'm not saying they'll pull it off for Mendoza, but yeah, I didn't consider the Sauce Gardner cap ramifications there.
Do you think the Raiders would be that stupid to trade this? I mean, they sent Max Crosby home, I think, to make sure they got the number 1 pick. To make sure they lost so they can get it.
So, Rav, you bring up a good point. With Tom Brady running most of the show now, I think from now on, no, I don't think they will. I think at this point, with Brady there and with John Spytek there, Mark Davis has pretty much, well, he never cared to begin with what the state of his team was, but I think he's just perfectly willing to abdicate control from a personnel standpoint and let Brady and Spytek fall and crash on their own faces, but and get egg on them while they're at it. But I don't know. It's really hard to tell. The thing about Brady, too, he was a great quarterback, but we don't know what kind of a talent evaluator he will be. So, I mean, Brady talks a big game, and he wears nice suits, and he has the nice styled fucking hair that I wish I had. But at the end of the day, we don't know what kind of talent evaluator Tom Brady is or will be. So it's going to take more than just one season for him and Spytek to remake that roster, regardless of whether they draft Mendoza or not.
Yeah, the hair is the most important thing. I got it. But more important than the hair and the women and all that other stuff with Brady, he's not there. You can't be broadcasting these games.
Mostly in the broadcast booth, yep.
And that's not going to work. These guys, like Eric DeCosta's been sleeping at the facility in Owens Mills. Like, how
and there.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There has been mention, and from what I gather, it's going to be brought up at the owners' meetings that Brady's going to have to decide ownership of the Raiders or his broadcasting job because of insider information. There's a couple of analysts that have that are going to have the exact issue.
I don't think you can do both. I think you can have ownership. You just can't have day-to-day say in the operation. That's
Brady's got day-to-day say in the operations.
Brady's got final say outside of Mark Davis and be the announcer and be. Now, he does have restrictions on him with Fox. He can't go to the facilities like a lot of these broadcasters, be in production meetings and all that stuff like some of these guys. So he does have some restrictions on them. But yeah, I agree. I don't think you could run a football team and be the number 1 announcer at Fox at the same time. I don't see how you do it. Not well.
They were bringing it up about Aikman too because he's got his role with Miami now. Having the same situation.
Well, Aikman that's a temporary thing. They're just bringing him in until they get some. I don't even know if he's even still. I think he's just helping them through transition. That I don't mind. Like if you fired the coach or whatever, but I don't think Aikman's going to stay there and do that.
Hey guys, I think we need to spend some time talking about Drake Maye and the Patriots because this time last year we were looking at the Patriot previous head coach being one of the worst coaches in for history, saying that like Jacoby Brissett was better than Drake Maye, and now the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl for the first time without Belichick or Brady. I mean, the Tennessee Titans right now have to be fuming, thinking, how the bleep did we let Mike Vrabel leave the building?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have another thing to talk about after this, but right now, they let Brady leave the building. They let Belichick walk out with their defensive coordinator, Gerard Mayo, with a contract that said if Belichick retires, he becomes head coach for at least a year automatically. So that's why Gerard Mayo was there. The Titans, they got to be sick to their stomach watching Vrabel take this team to the Super Bowl. Just as sick as Vikings fans have to be watching Sam Darnold lead the Seahawks and look great in prime time all damn season when they said that's when he failed.
Nobody feels worse than the Browns.
Yeah, you guys will
because
end up with Jim Schwartz as your head coach. He
which
wasn't a bad head coach with Detroit. He was not. He had a bad season due to injuries on defenses last year, and he deserved an extension, but they decided to go with the safe hire in Jim Caldwell.
and I agree with that. But who is Jim gonna hire that's gonna relate with a young offense? And who is he gonna put in that position to run that defense?
If he's smart, he can run the defense. He needs a good offensive coordinator before Pittsburgh or Baltimore soups him up. Bring in Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not
I don't
wrong.
believe in Cliff. I'm not. I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury the way that other people do. But to stick to Vrabel and the Patriots, Vrabel was here as a coaching assistant and ended up finishing the year as our offensive line coach. He took over the offensive line in like week 4 and was coaching offensive line and tight ends by week 8. And we let him go to give Kevin Stefanski one more year, who I think is going to have success in Atlanta. But that's a different conversation.
Well, I thought so too until he brought in Bob Quinn as his advisor, the guy that advised him to trade for Deshaun Watson, because that guy got me fired in Detroit. We better get him.
But here's the thing. Kevin Stefanski didn't want Deshaun Watson. And it was said then, and it's been said now. The Deshaun Watson thing was a Jimmy Haslam issue. But to stay focused on what Vrabel did in New England, I didn't think they would make the Super Bowl, but I for sure thought that they would get far in the playoffs. I felt like they were 1 or 2 pieces away, but this brings the question of what we were talking about with Mendoza. Do you really take Mendoza if you don't feel like you have that kind of head coach? Because my fear for Mendoza is they draft him and he's the next Andrew Luck. He plays well, but he gets hit all the time and then he retires.
Yeah, they need O-line. That's 100%.
Dylan, you asked about Drake Maye. My feeling on Drake Maye is I've heard a lot of arguments from all the pundits and the prognosticators saying, well, he had the easiest road to the Super Bowl, and yes, New England's strength of schedule was not exactly a meat grinder. But look, regardless of the strength of schedule or not, you still have to go out, you still have to play the games, and you still have to prove that you can win the games. And Drake did that. There's still some things about Drake's longevity that I even question. I have concerns about. But look, all right, he came through when the chips were down, especially when that weather got really porous in Denver. He proved that when he couldn't make plays with his arm, he made them with his legs because he rushed for 150 some odd yards in that game on just 11 carries. So he deserves to be in the Super Bowl because he made the plays when they had to count. Am I anointing him the next Tom Brady? Am I anointing him the next Steve Grogan? No, I'm not. I'm just saying that throughout the entire course of the season, he won the games regardless of strength of schedule or not that he had to win. And he helped get New England to the Super Bowl. So that's my thought on Drake.
So, and to cap that off, in the playoffs, they probably had the hardest road. He faced the number 1 defense, the number 2 defense, and the number 5 defense in the playoffs.
And now
one thing I like about Drake Maye, he doesn't get rattled. You see him in a pressure situation, and he's just like it's 8 minutes left in the first quarter. He keeps that same demeanor. He's not, you know how some quarterbacks you can tell they're getting rushed, they get happy feet, all that kind of stuff. Maye keeps his composure the same all the way across the board. Do I want New England to win this Super Bowl? No, of course not. But the whole premise of what Drake Maye, I think, is going to be, if he keeps his mindset like it is and continues working with Mike Vrabel, and then they bring him some more tools like a number 1 receiver, that sort of thing, that could be a pretty dangerous team for the next few years. I think it really could. I like Maye. I wasn't sure about him when they drafted him. I really like him now.
According to Patriots media this morning, Drake Maye hurt his shoulder in the AFC Championship game, and there's a chance he may not even be able to play the Super Bowl.
Drake May's playing the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold played him in an oblique injury. They're fine.
It's his throwing
how
shoulder,
bad
bro.
it is.
It's his throwing shoulder. If it hasn't healed by next week, he won't be playing. And
I'm not worried.
if they run out Josh Dobbs, the Patriots are cooked.
Drake May
If
is
they run out Josh
down.
Dobbs, Seattle will win by 20.
That thing would have to be falling. I agree with Dylan. That thing would have to be falling out of the socket for him not to tape it up for one more outing, or at least try to.
I mean, he would literally have to have a tear in his rotator cuff or a separation or something like that.
I think
to
sometimes
not play.
I think he might play even if he did.
Hey, if
Depending
Ronnie
how
Lott
bad
can
it is,
rip
you're
off his
probably
own
right.
pinky finger, Drake Maye can play with a separated shoulder, damn it.
Hey, Logan Mankins played the Super Bowl with a partially torn ACL. Phil Rivers played an AFC Championship with a partially torn ACL.
Logan Mankins
Jack
from
Youngblood played the Super
Fresno
Bowl with a
State.
broken leg.
But
Jack
none of that
Youngblood
is
played
your
the Super Bowl
throwing
14 with a
shoulder.
broken leg, man.
Oh, by the way, speaking of bowl, with Evan here, I think we have to talk about it. The biggest joke in Pro Bowl history. Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler? What?
That's not the biggest joke in NFL history. The biggest joke is Jamarcus Russell. The biggest joke in the Pro Bowl is Tyler Huntley. Even though I love Tyler Huntley,
No, the
We have
biggest
to-
joke in the Pro Bowl is the fact they call it the Pro Bowl when it's flag football.
and I was gonna get there, but I
Mhm.
chose to go the high road. They
I
put
didn't.
him in there
Anybody that
because
cla-
of injuries. Because of injuries, and
Anybody
because he
that-
sold the number one jersey.
Anybody that classifies the quality of a player, and I've been saying this for a while, some of you guys already know this, that classifies the quality of a player on the number of Pro Bowl appearances is completely off base, because they've been substituting and flipping and flopping guys as Pro Bowlers. There's been like the sixth string offensive tackle is classified as a Pro Bowl. The seventh or eighth or ninth quarterback, because of injuries or because of not wanting to play or whatever, becomes a Pro Bowler. No. That doesn't fly. If they want to only give credit to the ones that get named, that's fine. But if you're going to classify the quality of a player by how many Pro Bowls they made, no.
Exactly.
It's become a joke.
And that's kind of like not the same thing, but almost like the Hall of Fame. That's kind of my worry there too. You're doing the same. You're coming up with all this stuff, and Evan's absolutely right. We had Tyler Huntley, who has played 3 games for the Ravens in the Pro Bowl, and the Ravens last year had Daniel Falele, who's I think the worst offensive lineman I ever saw. Because I think it was snap count or something like that, where he had more than everybody else. Like,
you have too many. And you were talking about Hall of Fame, Rev. The big difference between the NFL Hall of Fame and the Baseball Hall of Fame is that the NFL Hall of Fame, you have a number that goes in every year. Baseball Hall of Fame, there's been years that they didn't have anybody go in. They might have 1, they might have 3 or 4. They've had years where nobody went in off the current generation, which is fine. They didn't get enough votes. Oh well, too bad, so sad. Which may happen next year, to be perfectly honest with you. But in the NFL, they put 5 to 7 guys in every single year, depending on how many votes they get. 5 to 7 guys every single. Well, that means that there's going to be guys that, honest to God, don't deserve to get in. We went through the finalists or the semifinalists a couple weeks ago. There were guys on there that we all agreed, no. Some that Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, no brainers. Some you could discuss, but when you have to put a certain amount of guys in, that's a problem. It waters it down.
Here's the other thing. Tyler Engstrom is out as the Jets OC. Not that I didn't expect that, because that offense was horrible with the rookie offensive coach. And with a rookie defensive-minded coach, that's where he made his mistake. He should have got a veteran offensive coordinator. We've said this before about rookie head coaches. If you're defensive minded, get a vet offensive coordinator. If you're offensive minded, get a vet defensive coordinator. It's just common sense that that's what you should do in your first year, and that's the biggest mistake Aaron Glenn made, because let's face it, week 4, everyone on this panel had more net passing yards than Justin Fields, who had -10.
I think like the Jets are going to wind up with Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss possibly a quarterback for them. They're not going to do it with the first pick, but they got those 2 picks. So I think that's.
They have 3 first-rounders. They can get them in the first round.
I don't.
I thought that was next year. They got 2 this year and 3 next year.
Yeah,
well,
they got 2 this year.
They got 1 from Dallas. They got 1 from the Colts. They also got 1 of each next year from those teams, I thought, too.
I think it's only 2.
They got 5 picks total.
The Jets have the Cowboys' 2nd-round pick this year, the Jets' 1st-round pick this year, and then next year it's I think either one Dallas. I think Dallas's and Indy's 1st-round pick. It may be Green Bay, but I'm not sure. Hey, Adam. I'm trying to think. Who would be the worst Pro Bowl quarterback you can remember besides Mr. Huntley or Shador?
I don't know. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl in years.
The last time I watched the Pro Bowl was when Sean Taylor took out the punt returner for a concussion, and that was the last year they had real tackling.
I've got one. What would you rather do than watch the Pro Bowl? But instead of a good thing, it's got to be like almost a punishment.
I would rather gargle shards of broken glass.
I'd rather say something nice about the Cowboys.
Oh man!
Yeah, like I can't get like I'm not like it's flag football. I'm not that into it.
Yeah, I mean it's the only true All-Star game is the MLB All-Star game because it's the only game that doesn't completely change the game. You know, the NBA All-Star game is nothing but a pickup game. The next person that plays defense in the NBA All-Star game is the first. The NHL All-Star game is kind of the same way. You're not checking anybody. You're not, the score becomes like 14-13. Major League Baseball, you actually play the game. You're out there playing a legitimate baseball game and playing it to win. That's the only All-Star game in the major sports that to me is, then you get the NASCAR and the MLS and that kind of stuff, which is a different kettle of fish. But to me, MLB is the only one that's really worth watching.
The thing I remember the most about the Pro Bowl, and I'm being serious saying this, is when Peyton Manning just ripped apart his own kicker, Vanderjagt, called him an idiot after Vanderjagt came out in criticism after they lost the playoff game. We're talking about this idiot kicker like this. Why are we even talking about this idiot?
Didn't he call him a drunken cook? Didn't he
call him a drunk
kicker?
Called this drunk.
Yep.
And of course, he never played for the Colts after that anymore.
By the way, we also found out today the Buffalo Bills have named Joe Brady as their next head coach, which sort of surprised me.
Didn't surprise me.
I wasn't surprised.
No, it didn't surprise me at all.
Want to know why it didn't surprise me? Because they were stupid enough to let McDermott go and then blame him for drafting Keon Coleman when we heard Bean rave about Keon Coleman the entire combine.
What was funny for the Bills is they were going to interview Mike McDaniel. So let me get this straight. So you're going to interview the guy, you fired the guy because he's not winning Super Bowl, but you hired the guy they kept finishing ahead of to fix your problem. Like Brady was the only guy that wasn't a complete joke. I mean, they interviewed Rivers. Nobody else really was available that they would have liked. So they just went with Joe Brady, which I don't have too big of a problem with.
McDaniel
Josh Allen
his
really
interview. And McDaniel went back to San Diego and said he's not taking any head coaching interviews. So he's going to stay in OC is why they went with Joe Brady too.
I'm surprised nobody wants the Raiders job. I'm a little
I'm not.
surprised. I mean, the Raiders are kind of crazy, but like you get at least there, you get the number 1 pick. So at least I know like the quarterback and what I'm getting and all that in terms of that. In terms of that, like but the Browns, I get it, and the Cardinals, I guess I get it too. They just don't know what
both of those. I think both of those teams are way more interesting than the Raiders, and it all has to do with the number 1 pick. When you look at quarterbacks now, majority of these franchises that are drafting quarterbacks every 5 years are looking for an instant pop meal at quarterback. And you're going to take a guy who wasn't on the radar at Cal to be in the draft last year, goes with Kirk Cincinnati, wins a championship. You earned it. Congratulations. Now I'm about to go to this poverty-stricken franchise that has no receivers, barely know what they have in a running back that they didn't have to take in the top 5 or top 10, whatever it was, and they still have no offensive line. So then you're telling me I'm going to go get this job, and if I can't win more than 5 games, I'm out? What? You only get to be a head coach so many times. They don't have anything there that's worth keeping other than the tight end. So why continue? Why would you take that spot, especially if you're a Udinski or a Shieldhouse, or even a Cliff Kingsbury or a Mike McDaniel, because they only got 1 shot left.
I mean, I think Cleveland. I think if you like Shador, I'm surprised that nobody likes Shador. Like, I think I'm actually a little surprised that nobody wants, because if you like Shador, you want that job in Cleveland, because that's most of it for these guys. If you got a quarterback that you like,
the ownership you don't want to deal with
like this. Yeah,
it's the owner and it's the Shadorians. I wanted Shador at number 2. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying to hide it at all. I wanted Shador at 2. But the problem that you have with Shador that I think scares a lot of coaches in general, especially because of the owner that we have, who is the biggest problem of it all, is his fans. And if you're a Shieldhouse, if you're Grant Udinski, if you're one of the younger guys, that's scary to you. If you're an Anthony Lynn, if you're a Todd Monken, and you don't have a great relationship with Jim Schwartz, and I'm already being forced to keep him, and I watched you force out a coach that the rest of the league respects.
Well, I mean, Evan,
How would I deal with that?
I found out that Grant Uzinski's going to not going to Cleveland, which told me,
Yeah.
I mean, the Browns want coaches writing essays saying why they should get the job.
But that's nothing new. That's something that Doug McDermott did. That's something Kevin Stefanski did. That's something that Hugh Jackson did. They've been doing that for a long time. And my argument to that is you do the same thing with the draft. That's not the problem. The problem is that every coach that Jimmy Haslam has hired, he has had something to do with their staff. Every GM he has hired, he has had something to do with their staff. He is always in the way. Look at Mike. Go back and look at Mike Pettin as a coach of the Cleveland Browns and look at his staff. Look how many of those guys are coaches in the NFL right now. Head coaches, offensive coordinators looking for their first opportunity at jobs or their second.
I'm not going to argue the owner. The Shador pick was the owner pick, because otherwise it made no sense. Why would you take Galen Gabriel in the 3rd round?
Because that was the Stefanski pick. They have the same. They have the same management.
Yeah, it made no sense. So that, and when I saw this, like, this is the owner telling them, forcing their hand.
On top of that, Stefanski didn't want Shador because of the thing that happened with his grandfather years ago.
That's not the same family. That's been proven. It's not the same family.
It's not his grandfather, because that's what everybody posted and said.
It's not. So the story is that, or the post was that it was his wife's father or grandfather, one of the two. It's not the same person. It was debunked by Mary Kay Cabot and somebody from ESPN a couple days after the major report came out. It has nothing to do with that. If I can go back and find it, I will.
I think the narrative around Shador is just like people just don't. I mean, literally, I don't know if you guys watch Jason Whitlock, but every
Not at
single
all.
day, this fool is making videos about Shador and Dion every single day. And now it's not just him, but it's a lot of. There's a lot of there's a lot of negative with Shador where I think that's unfair to him in terms of that. I mean, we don't know if he's any good or not, honestly. I mean, him and the stats with Cam Ward are about the same. I mean, they're not that different. So we still don't know if they're any good or not. But you only hear it with Shador. You don't hear it with Cam Ward, right? So that's the whole thing. Like, I don't know if there was another young coach also too that would take. I mean, I was just seeing today with the Steelers interviews that they didn't do well. Like Chris Shula and Shieldhouse didn't do well in interviews.
So that's the report that I got from my insider with Cleveland, is that Grant Udisky didn't do well on the second one, which I kind of find hard to believe, but it is what it is. I always felt that Nate Shieldhouse was their guy. Nate Shieldhouse and Andrew Berry have ties to each other. It's a long lineage tree to try to find, but they have ties to each other.
Evan, here's a completely out of left field question, but it couldn't happen. What happens if you got a healthy Deshaun walking into training camp next year with Shador there? I mean, does Deshaun get any sort of a shake, or are they just going to kind of let him sit there till his contract's over and just keep paying him and let everything else happen around him?
The narrative by week 13 was a question of if he's healthy and Shador's playing this way and they decide to pull him, because that's when I think that was after the Raiders game. I think he had lost 2 in a row. The question was, well, Deshaun's finished his rehab. He has the open practice window. What's going to happen? The narrative then became he's going to go into training camp and he's going to go and battle Shador. And I think with a new head coach, that's what they would do while they build up the rest of the roster. And then next year, when you have guys like Arch Manning, who I think is going to be a bum, the Norris Sellers, and the many other guys that chose to stay, like Dante Moore, are going to come out, and it'll be all those quarterbacks next year. So I think that Deshaun Watson will play for the Browns at some point if Deshaun gets hurt, if Shador gets hurt. But I think he'll at least get the competition going into the year.
Gotcha.
You can't cut him. You can't move in any other way. And
No.
you look at it like this: you were a good boy. You did your time. You didn't do anything to detriment the team. You helped mentor my possible franchise quarterback if Shador is good this year.
What's exactly wrong with him? I don't.
Who?
Is anything? What exactly is the problem
with who?
Deshaun. Why isn't he playing?
Achilles.
Well, he had tore his Achilles twice. He then tore what was it? His rotator cuff or the pivot bone around the rotator cuff. He chipped that against Baltimore. He's had a lot of injuries around here, but I think the one thing that nobody wants to talk about, especially fans, is because fans are guilty of this, is the way they treated him during the entire situation with the charges that he was accused of in Houston, and the way that they would harass his wife, threaten his mother, verbally and physically, to the point where they couldn't do anything within the city while he was here. And I think that destroyed him mentally way before he ever got hurt physically.
I think I'm more on the second thing you said. Can he play? I agree
think
with
he
all that.
can.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but like it's like he hasn't been any good on the field when he
I
has
think he
been.
can. I think he can. The reason I think he can is because there each of the 2 seasons where he actually played some kind of games, you saw a little bit of flashes. The thing that I think people don't deep dive into what the problem was with him here, whether it was Deshaun, Dylan Gabriel, Baker Mayfield at the end of his time, or Shador, was that Kevin Stefanski's offense never evolved and it became predictable. And therefore, because it became predictable and you no longer had a Nick Chubb, you no longer had a Kareem Hunt, you could in a healthy David Njoku, you couldn't do the things that you were doing normally or in the beginning when you won 2-time coach of the year. Do I think that if he gets a coach that knows what he's doing and knows how to mirror the run in the pass game and can do something, could he show some flashes? Absolutely. You don't just lose that talent overnight, but do I think it's likely? Most likely not. Not in Cleveland anyway.
Unfortunately, it's not overnight because when has it been the last time he played an entire game?
Not last year. Yeah, last year.
No. Last
Year
year he
before
didn't play
last.
the entire game. It was the year before the Achilles. That was the last
Yeah,
time
so
he
year
played an entire game. And then before that, he came in, played preseason, got hurt, and basically almost missed that entire season, if I remember right, his first year at Cleveland.
We're at about
his
6
first year
seasons
he
now.
was suspended.
We're at about 6 seasons now since we had the real Deshaun Watson. I mean, where he was really good in Houston and all the putting up stats, and he was on par with Lamar and all these guys and all these young quarterbacks. It's been about 2018 since we've seen it. I could be wrong about that.
2020.
Yeah,
2020. Thanksgiving is when he torched Detroit on Thanksgiving, which led to Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia being fired.
It's been a minute since that's a long. I mean, we've seen it before. Michael Vick was a guy kind of resurrected himself, after several years. We've seen it. Rich Gannon was a guy several years on the bench, kind of Geno Smith. Not totally impossible, but I don't know why you just don't send him home and just play. I don't know what.
You don't send him home because he's not a problem in the locker room. And a lot of guys, although they didn't like the play on the field, they liked the person. And even though he wasn't somebody that Kevin Stefanski wanted, he was always a help to Kevin Stefanski. People don't talk about the fact that even though Joe Flacco had an idea of the offense and knew what it was from his time in Baltimore, it was Deshaun Watson that was on the phone with him in his early days and staying extra in Berea, where the training facility is, going over calls and helping him in that time. It was Deshaun Watson who was giving his extra time in training camp to to Shador and to Dylan Gabriel. More while Kenny Pickett tried to fight for his chance before getting hurt, while Joe Flacco sat and toured the both. He was the one that was at every game, being a head coach for these young guys. So I think sending him home would hurt you more than it would help you at this point.
I think if you want to have him as all the things you just said, that's a third quarterback. That's a second quarterback. That's fine. I mean, if you want to do, I actually would have less problem with that. If you just wanted him just to, like RG3 kind of did with Lamar as a rookie. Hey, we're going to mentor. We got a veteran guy. He's just going to mentor. He's whatever. But all this competing with Shador, no, don't do that. If you're going to just go ahead and send him
I'm
home,
not saying that's what they should do. I'm saying that's what the narrative is. I agree. My thing is, for next year, if I'm the GM of the Browns, I'm the head coach of the Browns, I'm going offensive line and receiver every round, all 7 of them. I got my 2 running backs. I got a tight end. I could pick up another guy in free agency at the tight end spot. I'm fixing my offensive line. Jim Schwartz is going to be here. I'm bringing back Devin Bush and Ronnie Hickman. Team friendly deals. My defense is set. A veteran here to fill in some holes. But I'm drafting everything I need for an offense so that I can know what holes I have next year, the following year, because it's a quarterback and wide receiver heavy draft. If I do everything to build around um, Shador or Dylan Gabriel, I don't really care if it's Anzumama, to be honest with you. If I do, whoever is throwing the football, if I do everything I can this year to build around them, like the Bears did with Caleb Williams, even though that's what they should have did with Justin Fields, but that's another conversation. Then I know what's next later, and then I can go say, okay, cool. I can go trade up and get a quarterback. I got an offensive line, or I could focus and get another receiver here, or I can see if I can get another pass rusher to kind of learn from Miles now before Miles retires or Miles is gone. But this year, no, I'm doing everything I can to build around the quarterbacks that I have.
We need your Cleveland show back.
Gentlemen, I think we need to have a little fun here. How about we do some trivia? I know Rich has got one for you, but I've got one for you.
But before we go, I've been waiting to talk about something that happened here in Detroit. Like I said before the show, we hired Drew Pensing, and then we went ahead and took that offensive coordinator off the board, and Mike Kafka, who actually was the quarterback's coach with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for 5 years before he became an OC. I think if Scotty Montgomery is hired as the OC as the Ravens, since we already lost our passing game coordinator, he was next in line for that as the assistant head coach. Mike Kafka becomes the passing game coordinator and assistant head coach, replacing him immediately. And I think it's a brilliant move because Drew Pensing is known for his run game, but he did make Jacoby Brissett actually look like a starting QB this year.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett's not terrible.
No,
I think he's been halfway decent there. He's actually been halfway decent every time I've seen him play. I mean, he's not a great starter, but he's not, he's a decent backup. He's a solid backup. He's probably top 5 backup in the league as far as that
backup
goes.
QBs matter.
Yeah.
Look at Broncos. They had to bring in Stidham. He looked great in the first half while the weather was clear, but as soon as the wind started blowing and the snow started blowing around, he was dog crap.
Well, okay, but whenever anybody is going to be dog crap in that kind of conditions, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Drake Maye only threw for 86 yards the whole game, so
Well,
I don't care who you are. It could be Joe Montana out there. It ain't going to matter.
I've been saying it all. I've been saying all year. That New England defense is no joke. I think the problem is nobody knows the names, but Milton Williams, Barrymore, Harold Landry, Christian Gonzalez. If he stays healthy, man, this guy's a stud.
Christian Gonzalez, he's awesome.
Hey, we know the name Barrymore for the wrong reasons this year. The same reason why we heard Stephon Diggs for the wrong reason this year.
Diggs has also been better than I thought he would be. I mean, honestly, I didn't know. I think the only reason that was like they kind of looked at what the best they could do. Diggs has been very good for them.
Oh,
Diggs,
I did.
Diggs has been Diggs and the whole receiving group has been better than I thought.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Here's my trivia question. Drake Maye will be the second youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl. Who's number 1?
Patrick Mahomes?
No.
No, it's Marino.
Ding, ding, ding. 1985, Super Bowl 19. Maybe the best
He's going to
quarterback.
go to a bunch of them. Yeah, that didn't work out.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. So what's your trivia for us, Rich? We know you've got 20.
Dylan didn't catch that. That's what everybody was saying at the time. Like this is gonna be the dynasty, blah blah blah, and he never got back.
If they would have ever gotten him a running game, Rav, ever had gotten a running game.
I agree.
Oh my God!
I
But
absolutely agree.
I got a quick one for you guys. This one should be. I think it's going to be relatively easy, but it's multiple parts. What is the worst record for a team to get to the Super Bowl? How many teams have had that record and gotten to the Super Bowl?
Wasn't it the Steelers?
And who are they?
7 and 9, correct?
No.
2007. Who are the 2007 New York Football Giants at 9 and 7?
Almost correct.
Wasn't it the Steelers?
No.
When they got in as a 6 seed?
No. Although they were involved in one of these.
Redskins?
The Chargers, San Diego.
2010 Green Bay Packers.
No.
Oh, are we going back to like the Raiders with Jim Plunk in like 1980 or 1983?
There's one way back and one not so far back. Yes.
The Jaguars?
We haven't made a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Oh.
I remember.
Jaguars.
Oh, that's right. It was the AFC Championship game. Sorry, LA Raiders.
It's not the Raiders. No.
I was thinking the Patriots years ago when they played the Bears. It was a wild card, and that was a big deal. Like in '85.
They were a wild card, but they didn't have this record. No.
Wasn't it Detroit way back when on one of their first championships?
Detroit hasn't been to a Super Bowl.
It's strictly Super Bowl.
He
No,
said
it said Super Bowl.
championship. Oh, it's Super Bowl. Okay.
It said Super Bowls. Yeah.
I thought you said.
Would you like for me to narrow it down just a smidge?
Yeah, because I'm like, there's so many decades and so many bad teams that have made.
Both teams. No, both teams went 9 and 7.
Well, the Giants are one.
Was it the Steelers?
No.
I know they got in as a 6 seed one year too.
The Giants did it both years. They made the Super Bowl. They were 9 and 7.
The Giants did. Dylan almost had one of them. He was super close to having one of them.
Oh crap! The Giants Super Bowl, the 2011 Giants.
The 2011 Giants were 9 and 7, and they were the only ones to win the Super Bowl. The other one made it and lost. Do the math, Adam. It's before your time.
Before my time.
It's before Dylan's time, it's before Evan's time, and it's before Adam's time.
Was it the Baltimore Colts?
No, sir.
Yeah, you got to be going back that far if you're talking about before.
It's not that far back.
70s. I don't care.
Dallas Cowboys?
No, sir.
Is it in the 70s?
Oh, who are the
Minnesota
Vikings?
I will give it's in the 70s, yes.
Who are the 1975 Minnesota Vikings?
Huh?
Who are the 1970 something Minnesota Vikings?
No, sir.
The 1979 Rams?
Ding, ding, ding. We got a winner.
This Ferragamo.
The Rams in Super Bowl 14 and the Giants in what was that? 36? Is that
40,
right?
46.
46. My bad.
By the way,
yep.
Wasn't that the fourth of the four for the Steelers?
Yep. That was against one was hurt.
Yep. Because they beat the Vikings and they beat the Cowboys twice and then they beat the Rams. 4 in 6 years.
I gotta say this though, like, and I'm not trying to be I'm really not, but they got to do something on Fox with Terry Bradshaw at this point, man.
Yeah, he is bad.
I mean, he's going to be 78 years old, man.
I'm starting to think it's a Lee Corso thing.
Yeah, and I'm glad that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like Lee Corso, like Lee Corso though was, he could still do his part. Terry's like not like making mistakes, man. Just rambling at times. And
if you let Terry go, we're gonna be talking about and I don't wish this upon nobody, God forgive me, but if we let Terry go now, this time next year it's gonna be a John Madden video, but for Terry Bradshaw.
For Terry Bradshaw. No, I agree with you 1,000,000%.
Why do you guys say that? I know what you mean when you
when
say it, but why do you say that he wouldn't survive without?
He'll give up.
he'll
He's
give
already
up.
dealing with Parkinson.
Yeah,
He's
he ain't
fought
got
ca-
nothing else.
He's fought cancer twice to get back to football. He's fought cancer twice and won to get back to football. If football gets taken away from him, if the NFL gets taken away from him, it's going to be I don't know that it's going to be within a year, but I think it'll be extremely difficult for him to continue fighting, continue. And I hate to say it, I do. I'm a Bradshaw guy, but I agree with Evan. As much as I don't want to, I agree with him. I really do. But you're right. Bradshaw has gotten pretty bad. Kind of like I said, Lee Corso-esque. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. For how bad Terry Bradshaw is, Tony Romo's wrote Wolves on CBS.
No.
Tony Romo is not good.
Awful.
Tony Romo's
okay. He's not bad.
Romo's awful.
I don't think he's awful. I just think he had such a hot start. Now that he's not super hot anymore, it's kind of hard to live up to what we expected or what we got used to.
I don't think he's much different, except for I think he's clearly lost enthusiasm. He's clearly lost some enthusiasm. He doesn't seem as excited to be there. And like when he first started doing games, he had a tremendous amount of that. Now he doesn't look like he's got that.
But if
Tom
you
Brady's
remember
gotten much
right,
better too. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you remember right, when he first started, he was basically calling the play before it happened.
Right. His first year, he was so
And they reeled him in on doing that. They didn't want him doing that as much. Which, last I looked, that's the color commentator's job, is to provide insight to what's going on. The play-by-play guy tells you what's going on the field. He watches the ball. The color guy does everything else. And Romo was doing a great job of that. And for whatever reason, CBS said, well, wait a minute. I don't know if it was the fact he was overshadowing Jim Nance or what. That might very well be what it was. But they reeled him in. They didn't want him, because if you notice, he doesn't do it as much as he used to. He may do it once or twice a game. He was doing it once or twice a quarter when he first started doing it. And that was part of his panache. Not doing it anymore. I think Brady's horrible. And it's not just my
Wait. I'm gonna object you on. I think Tom Brady's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's bad. I think Chris Collinsworth. I've always thought Chris Collinsworth was bad.
I think Chris Collinsworth and Tirico were fantastic this year. I thought that.
I'll tell you what, the Tirico Collinsworth Week 18 broadcasts are the best one in the year by far. No questions asked.
I think the problem with Collinsworth is he's really negative at times. I think that's the thing with him. He'll really just start being. I think he's actually calmed down compared to the way he used to be. I think
Collins was bored about not doing another Mahomes Super Bowl, but he gets Patriots Seahawks for the second time.
Tirico to me is the number one play-by-play guy out there.
No.
Number two is Kevin Harlan.
What?
Kevin Harlan is
Kevin Harlan.
Kevin Harlan, I can pay attention on the radio very well.
he paints the picture on the radio, but he still does it on TV also, so that if you're not watching that game on TV and you're working in the kitchen or whatever, you still see the picture, even though you're not watching the game on TV, but he still calls it the right way for TV. Kevin Harlan is unbelievable. He just doesn't have the experience that Tirico has, because he's only been doing this for like 20 years, and Tirico's been doing it for going on 40 now.
I think Kevin Harlan's even better on basketball. That's not what we're talking about, but I think he's. I kind of see him as a basketball announcer, kind of like Gus Johnson. It's kind of like saying him doing games, kind of the same guy. Like he's a better basketball announcer, but he's like fantastic. They're loud. You can hear them.
Gus is really good on basketball.
Like Nance is kind of like understated, and Joe Buck, and they're just kind of like Nance, like Harlan and Gus Johnson. Yeah, you could be in any room in the house and hear them.
Joe Buck makes my ears bleed. He does.
I call him Joe and and White Jay-Z. Just go with Troy Aikman and Jay-Z's picture next to each other. They look like twins.
Troy Boy was a really good. Michaels is good. I like Herb Street, but
isn't it too though?
I think Michaels is kind of rounding third, headed toward home. I don't think he's going to be doing it for much longer.
I don't really see it with Michaels like I do like with like Pat Summerall or what's going on with Brett. I mean, Michaels still to me, and I know how old he is, seems fine to me. Like on the mic.
No, I'm not saying he's losing his touch or anything. I'm just saying I think he's getting to that point. And I like Herbie. I think Herbie does a really good job on color. Better than I thought he was going to do. When I first heard it was going to be Michaels and Herb Street, I was like, okay, so he's going to drag Herb Street behind him. No, Herb Street actually does really good analysis of what's going on. I think he really does. That's just me, but I think he's really good.
I've never really liked him a whole lot. Herb Street. I thought Herb Street and Boomer, they were the two. I just don't get it. Boomer Esiason was one I just.
I meant. Oh, I thought you were mentioning Chris Berman, not Boomer Esiason. Sorry, but
Boomer Esiason. He was. I thought he was okay on the NFL Today, but when they actually had him doing broadcast stuff like on the radio for Westwood One and all that, he's not good. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Raph. He wasn't very good.
Chris
on
Berman,
the CBS show, he was pretty good.
Chris Berman and Bob Costas are probably the reason I'm even wanting to do any of this stuff.
Like, one of us met Chris Berman.
Did you really? It wasn't me.
I've met him. I'll tell you what.
By the way, true. I did get a. You remember the chant he made in the 90s when he said, "No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills."
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
The one that, when it came to baseball national, I always liked when they did Monday Night Baseball with Keith Jackson and Bob Uecker.
Bob Uecker, man, God rest his soul. That guy's amazing.
Yeah, man.
But Keith Jackson, Keith Jackson's known for football. Let me tell you about it, Keith Jackson and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's great. Because remember when Keith Jackson was the tight end for Oklahoma, and everybody gave him grief because it was all, let me tell you about that Keith Jackson, and everybody's like, why are you talking about yourself? No, that's not what. But he is really good. He was really good on baseball too, on Monday Night Baseball, because that was the only real national game. You had Monday night and Saturday afternoon when I was growing up, and
I think the unpopular thing with Keith Jackson. I mean, I'm not saying this was me. I just think this is what they thought. Because he had a Southern accent, I think that's why he didn't ascend higher in broadcasting. I think because
you're right.
he had a Southern draw and all that. I think there's always New York executives that didn't like it. I totally agree with you with Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson was kind of like we were saying with Harlan. You knew it when you hear it. He was very competent.
Granddaddy of them all.
Dude, Carl.
And
Ravitch.
he called when he called that play-by-play, man. Ravitch is good on baseball. He's very good on baseball. I could listen to
Monday
him.
night.
You know where I think he really does a great job and it gets completely overlooked is the Little League World Series. I think he does unbelievable work with that Little League World Series. And him and I'll think of his name in a minute.
Him Raines.
Kyle, or no, Ben McDonald. I'm sorry, Ben McDonald. They do an unbelievable job on that Little League World Series. It's so good.
I've met Rap a few times.
Rap, when I was living in Eastern Pennsylvania, Carl Ravitch worked for the Harrisburg ABC Sports affiliate.
Rich, I have a funny story to tell you. First year doing spring training the Red Sox, 2019. I think that was when A-Rod, Jessica Mendoza, and Matt Vasco were doing Sunday Night Baseball. They were there, I think, for a Red Sox game. And one of my co-workers tried to follow A-Rod to the men's room, and the security guard said, "Nope."
Wow. Jessica Mendoza is actually really good. If you ever really listen to her when they're doing Sunday night, when they used to do Sunday Night Baseball, because now it's on NBC and Peacock, Jessica Mendoza was actually really good. Nobody ever paid attention to her, but her insight on what she saw was really good.
I know Costas is going to be working with them again. He's not going to be doing the play-by-play, but he's going to be working in the studios and all that with them. So that's good.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. I think it's Noah Eagle. What I heard.
Yeah.
I don't know what
his dad is a whole lot better.
Yeah.
His dad's 100 times better. Ian Eagle is really good. Noah, not so much.
I totally agree with that as well. But that job that's a hard job, that play-by-play stuff. I mean, there's a reason why they're giving Jim Nantz like $80 zillion and Joe Buck $80 zillion. There's a lot of people watching, and that's not easy. Football is the easiest to do, I think, of all the sports, though. It's more people watching. But baseball is very hard to do. Hockey is really hard to do below-by-play.
Voice of experience. Baseball is easier to do than football for one main reason. It's slower and more spread out. Football, everything is right here. So something can happen and you're not going to see it. Baseball, you've got the wide open field. If something does happen, you can pretty well narrow down what happened and all that. And it doesn't move nearly as quickly as football does. You can do a baseball broadcast by yourself and have it sound okay. It can sound good. You cannot do a football broadcast by yourself and make it sound good, because if you're trying to do play-by-play and analysis, it's bad. It sounded like shit when I did it. So yeah, I'm sorry, Rab, but I think baseball is much easier than football.
I think we're gonna head out. Thanks for the discussion, Evan, and hopefully you don't bungle Cleveland's first round pick like you did Johnny Football back in the day. But hopefully the Browns get a coach soon.
You know?
And I think we play you guys this year.
I think he's muted, don't know it.
I know we play the Jaguars in Tampa on the road.
So you coming to Florida this year?
I talked about it a little bit this morning.
Oh, great. Oh, no. There'll be 80% Steeler fans at both games. Oh, fudge.
Yeah, they probably will.
They call it Duval. They kept saying it. I was like, Dylan, you taught me what Duval is. That's Duval County. It's like, why do they keep saying?
No, it's Trevor County.
Trevor County. Oh, they've changed the name now. No longer Duval.
Because this year they have to play in Orlando while they build the stadium.
No, that's next year, 22nd.
All right, Evan, I know you just texted me and said you got to go. How do people get a hold of you?
So you can find me at Brogdon Evan on Twitter. You can also find me at Talking Sports by the Lake and the UFL/XFL Football 2020. What is it? 2020.
Yeah, we gotta talk.
We gotta
about that
update
one.
it. We gotta
The
update it
schedule
and
is
talk about
released.
that stuff. But that's where you can find me. And I'm sad that Dylan left before I could say thank you for giving me Mason Graham and an extra pick and Tevin Campbell for Greg Newsome. So, but yeah, that's where you can find me. Had to take some time off. I greatly miss this crew, these guys. It's a great atmosphere here, and I can't wait to get the show back started up. But yeah, those are the places you can find me at the most right now.
It's great to have you back, man.
It's good to be back.
Yeah,
I had a question
absolutely.
about a question that I'm gonna ask before I get off of here. Are you guys interested in doing a first round mock and talking about each pick
Yeah.
for the
Absolutely.
NFL draft?
I'm sure
Yeah, I'm
we're
working
gonna
on
get
that
one.
now. Mock draft.
Yeah,
I
man.
do a mock draft every day, all 7 rounds for Detroit.
Just
trying
for
to get
Detroit
there.
or for the whole league?
Well, Detroit, I'll do one for the Jaguars and I'll do one for the Buccaneers because I write about both of them now for the roundtable.io.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
did
I
a
write
first
about-
round for everybody, but I haven't done past first round.
Jeremy, just to let you know, I will not be there Thursday. I forgot to tell you, I'm going to the hockey game.
Okay. Are you guys going to be able to be on tomorrow night or are you guys starting later again?